Hello and welcome to discussion today. I'm Tina Jha. With an aim to achieve the goals and objectives of the National Education Policy 2020, the Department of School Education and Literacy has developed an indicative and suggestive implementation plan for school education. Called Students and Teachers Holistic Advancement Through Quality Education, Sarthak, the implementation plan was released by Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank earlier this week. Speaking on the occasion, the minister had said the major focus of Sarthak is to define activities in such a manner which clearly delineate goals, outcomes and also the time frame. Calling it interactive, flexible and also inclusive, the Education Minister had said the implementation of Sarthak would benefit all stakeholders, including 25 crore students, 15 lakh schools, 94 lakh teachers, educational administrators, parents as well as community. So on discussion today, we'll try and understand from experts all about the Sarthak initiative, the various outcomes that have been envisaged for the education system after its implementation and how it will pave the way for the children and the youth of our country to meet the diverse national and global challenges of the present and the future as envisioned in the National Education Policy 2020. Joining me on the program are two special guests. Let me first introduce them to you. I'm joined on the program by Mr. Piyush Prakash. He's Senior Associate Education Niti Aayog, and Dr. Jyoti Gupta, Director Principal DPS Sahibabad. Thank you to both my guests for joining me on the program today. Mr. Prakash, so let me begin the program today with you. Let's first try and understand what actually is the Sarthak plan, what are its aims and objectives?
So as you know, when the National Education Policy came, it came after a period of 34 years. And there were a lot of expectations and from different sectors of the society. And everybody kind of appreciated the goals, the ambitions that were there in the National Education Policy. But at the same time, people were a little bit apprehensive whether we are going to achieve those goals or not. And if you see, as you were mentioning in the beginning, like the Sarthak scheme or the Sarthak guidelines that has come out from the Ministry of Education clearly delineates what are the sub-activities that you have to do, who is the agency who will be implementing that activity, and what is the exact timeline. So, and they have, delineated further the sub-activities. For example, if you take the National Foundation Literacy and Numeracy Mission, they have this who will be, preparing the curriculum. So they have delineated NCERT, marked NCERT as the implementing agency with a deadline. So with such initiatives, whatever the, ambitions were there, the very ambitious goals were there in AP that is going to be implemented. At the same time, it is providing some flexibility to the states. It is not a binding thing on you. It's just a guideline. If you want to align with these guidelines, you'll be able to achieve those goals for your respective states.
And what are the kind of modifications that the states can do?
So as you know, every year all the states, they prepare their annual action plan. And they present it to the Ministry of Education in the PAB, Project Approval Board, and they are given the free hand to decide what they want to do, but they have to very clearly mention the key performance indicators and the rationale behind it. So if they want to achieve something, for example, we have been talking about the digital divide. So if Kerala wants to go for internet-based education or TV-based education, they can go ahead with that. But at the same time, Bihar or Jharkhand might like to go through the printing of booklets. So that is the kind of variation you will see depending on the local context. So they have the free hand, they have to very clearly delineate the key performance indicators, and they're presented to the MHRD, and more or less their proposals are accepted with certain guidance or technical support if they need.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, your thoughts on the Sarthak initiative. How do you see it benefiting the various stakeholders, the schools, the teachers, and particularly the students?
So this is, a great plan because the new national education policy that came in at the end of the last year is not just a policy of education, it is for the country. Now, if one really lives that policy and implements it in its true spirit, it is going to, take us to the path of development as a country, have children as better informed citizens tomorrow who are going to participate in the nation building. Now, Sarthak is a plan that has come out is actually, as Piyush sir said, it's actually an answer to all the doubts that were there after the NEP came in, where people said that it is a great policy, but the problem lies in the implementation of it. Because even the last policy was good, the NCF was great, but at the same time, it was not implemented very well at the grassroots level. So, what was happening in the classroom for the children, what was happening in the schools for the children, had not even an iota of the vision that was created on the paper. So now with Sarthak coming in, it's not just the learning outcomes which have been defined, it is also the responsibility which is fixed on various agencies of the government as well. And then it also gives the tight, I would say, watertight time frames for all the agencies, that the what is the time frame until when it will be over. The NEP, which is a very, I will not call it ambitious, but I will say that it is the need of the hour. It will be implemented pretty well, and it is going to benefit the students who are the center of our focus here.
Okay.
So, with the unprecedented times that we are living in, with the kind of growth that is coming in, with the technology that is coming in, these children are going to change at least 7 careers in their lifetime. So, basically, the student led learning, the joyful learning, the lifelong learning that one is talking about in the NEP is going to only ensure a better future for these children, a better future for our country. It is going to benefit the parents, of course, because they are one of the major stakeholders. So the children don't know anything right now, but the parents know what kind of future do they want for the children. Of course, when the children grow up, they take the onus of their own learning. But right now, it is going to benefit the parents. They are going to get the value for all the investments that they are making into their children. It is good for the teachers, because all the teachers right now are the teachers who've been trained and brought up in the 20th century. They are much behind the 21st century children, because the kind of exposure that these children have, those who've been here with us in the schools and those who've just started the higher education, they beat the teachers hands down where their exposure, their information, their knowledge is concerned. So the teachers have a long task, a long drawn task in front of them to unlearn and relearn, and to be able to cater to the needs of these children in the classroom. So whether it is a higher education or it is the school education, so the teachers, the capacity of the teachers have to be built in. There is a lot of role of technology that has to be understood at this point of time.
Yes.
And the technology has to be leveraged very well. And the inclusion that is equitable, I would say, access to the education at all levels is something that we have to work on.
Okay.
And one of the most important things is achieving and attaining the foundational literacy and numeracy. So a lot has been said about the pedagogy, the newer pedagogies, the innovation that has come into the teaching and learning process. That has to be taken up as well. So I would say that it will benefit all the stakeholders. It will benefit the school managements. It will benefit the people, the community, and most importantly, our own country.
Absolutely. So a lot of transformational reforms can be expected once the Sarthak plan is implemented. In terms of assisting the states, Mr. Prakash, how is Sarthak going to help them towards realizing the goals, the objectives of the NEP?
Right. So as I mentioned, we were getting, even at Nitya, we were getting a lot of queries from different states. Okay, now we know that this is a national education policy and we want to implement it, but we do not have a kind of a direction, or how we are going to achieve this at what time, what period of time. So this document at least will clear all those dilemmas that they have. At the same time, as I mentioned about the project approval board, So all the states are, in fact, that process is underway currently, and they are, preparing their plans, and they do present it to the Ministry of Education, where NITI Aayog also is a member. And whatever technicalities or any kind of challenges they face, they are addressed at first hand. They are guided. They are, their hand holding is done through these platforms and forums. Apart from that, we are already working with 3, 4 states directly. A project called Saath is getting implemented in Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. And we already completed first phase 2017 to 20. And now in the second phase, we are going to make sure that the states come up as model states while implementing this national education policy targets and goals.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, coming back to you again on the kind of assistance that is apart from Sarthak, what else in terms of clarity is required for the schools in order to be able to achieve what has been envisioned in the new education policy?
So there is a lot of clarity that is required. I would say a lot of working plans are required, because both the NEP as well as Sarthak talk about the competency-based education. So we are talking about newer pedagogies, like, for example, experiential learning, joyful learning. We are talking about competency-based education. We are envisioning an education that is not separate from the real life problem-solving situation. So what is happening in the classroom has to be, teaching the children as to how do they deal with the real-life problems. The embedding of the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN into our education. So there is a lot that NEP is talking about. It is talking about assessments. It's talking about competency-based assessments, not just of the cognitive level of the children, but also assessing the affective domain, also assessing the physical domain of the children. So a complete assessment, which is a comprehensive report card of the children to be generated, and then these children to be tracked right when they are 3 years plus to 18 years plus, maybe later on. Also then seeing what kind of careers are these people going to go in. So there is a complete plan that is being talked about. Now, the clarity that is required is that even if we implement the newer pedagogies, even if we implement the newer innovative pedagogies into our classroom and the transaction happens like this, how is the assessment going to be done, and how is it going to be linked to the higher education? Like, if we keep talking about the board examinations and we keep talking about the marks that the children are going to get at the board examinations and the importance of the marks, then the competency-based education that we are talking about, then the assessment of that becomes very difficult. So there is clarity. And, a few weeks back, 2 weeks back, the competency-based framework was also launched by the Honorable Minister. So there is a clarity that is required for the schools as to how do you transact the newer innovative pedagogies? How will the assessment be done? What kind of assessment are we looking at? Then we are also talking about the benchmarking exams. We are also talking about, the preparation for the PISA, and how do we relate the benchmarking exams with what is happening in the classroom, so that we do not have to specially prepare our children for the benchmarking exams across the world. And our children will naturally be able to, go on to the testing platforms and be able to test, without the preparation. And then, of course, the foundational literacy and numeracy, where we are talking about holding some benchmarking exams in classes 3, 5, and 8. What is the framework going to be there? How the students are going to be prepared? So there are a lot of questions which need to be answered. So there are a lot of documentation that needs to be done, and a lot of stakeholders need to be involved at this level, where better understanding can be built around this. Okay. And again, we are not talking about just the schools in the big cities. We are talking about the schools in the remotest of the areas. We are talking about the schools where there is no technology right now. Even when you talk about the teachers are not available. All teachers are not available. Then how do we bring in the equity, and how do we ensure that all children are at the same platform? So a lot of questions. I'm sure even after the document, once we answer these questions, the implementation is going to be better, and it is going to be better prepared.
Okay, let me take that across to Mr. Prakash. So, of course, Sarthak is one such plan which delineates and sort of creates a roadmap for effective implementation of the NEP. There are multiple issues, Mr. Prakash, that Dr. Gupta has raised on which more and more clarity is needed, and involvement of stakeholders, that is, of course, very, very significant. So, how are these challenges going to be addressed with time?
Right. So if you see, like when the entire plan Sarthak was being made, there was a Shiksha Parv which was implemented in the month of October, and all the teachers from across the country were invited to provide their suggestions. And if I'm not wrong, close to 7 lakh suggestions came. This is how they are going to implement. So using those comments right from the ground, because ultimately it is the classroom as a unit where the entire national education policy is going to be implemented. So that's the last mile we are talking about. So as you rightly mentioned, and even ma'am was rightly mentioning, that there is a need to be a perfect alignment right from top secretary at the state to the teacher in the classroom, and they should be aligned on the goal what they are going to achieve. Then, as she was mentioning about the newer pedagogies that needs to be brought in picture. So all this work has already been happening in the past for the past 2-3 years. For example, Nisha training, it is one of the most holistic training that has been designed in the recent times. So for the past 2-3 years, it was going in a physical format, and now it has been completely switched to online mode, where not less than 27-30 lakh teachers were trained on this newer pedagogies and goal alignment. So this kind of support already exists. Even at the state level, the state secretaries are constantly, the ministry has been in touch with all the secretaries. They're gathering all the inputs, their challenges, and apart from Sarthak, a detailed, implementation plan of all the different initiatives will be coming out soon. For National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, will have a document. For including technology in education, you are going to have a document which is be released very shortly. So all these different subcommittees are already working. What you see in the Sarthak is just a snapshot of who is going to do what and by what time. But all these documents that I'm mentioning about will be coming very shortly. That will guide and help all the stakeholders at their respective levels to be able to implement national education policy right in the classroom.
Okay, so going forward, there will be multiple documents which will further clarify more and more issues that have been pointed out. On Sarthak, Mr. Prakash, one good thing that we've spoken about, and you also pointed out earlier, was that states have been given this flexibility to adopt this plan with local contextualization. They can also modify it as per their needs and requirements. But going forth, could this also be a challenge? Could this also lead to a lot of disparity in different areas of the country?
I don't think so. I think rather it will empower the different areas of the country. So as I mentioned, I given the example of digital divide and how the NEP allows you to customize your interventions depending your own local context, right? So in a way, the one size fit all approach, which has been in the, has been unwanted norm earlier, now that has been done away with. So you have this flexibility where you want to, design certain things which is best suited for your own context, which might not work at all in other states. So in a way, this flexibility is going to empower the states rather than, creating disparity, because we have this very clearly defined performance indicators, which are decided by the state themselves, what is the goal they want to achieve in a certain period of time. So it's giving independence to the states to design their own goals that they would like to achieve in a certain period of time. They could do it, they could break it into year by year goals, but ultimately all the states will be striving towards achieving the larger goals, which the larger timelines.
Okay, Dr. Gupta. So, of course, the ultimate goal is to realize the dreams, the objectives that have been laid down in the new education policy. And this, of course, will pave the way for our children to meet the diverse global and national challenges that we have spoken about of both the present as well as the future. So, obviously, these documents will just be assisting in laying out a roadmap for implementing them effectively. But largely, if we talk about in terms of what the students need, what the teachers need, what the parents need? What should be the best way forward?
So the best way forward is that all schools start planning. Planning is very, very important. Till now, nobody planned. Just to say, there were plans for the teachers which they would make before going to the classroom. But at the same time, holistically, the schools were not making the plans. So, CBSE has been a front runner in the implementation of the NEP and, all the circulars that started coming in about 2 years back. They all started pointing towards, what kind of planning would the schools need. So the schools need to have their pedagogical plans. The entire team, the principal, the teachers, the management, and even students as stakeholders, they should all sit down together and they should plan. They should have the vision for their school. They should have the pedagogical plans. They should have the implementation plans. And it is not just a plan for a year. It should be for a couple of years. That is, where do you want to see the school in a couple of years, let us say from 5 years from now? Because both Sarthak as an implementation plan is also talking about different time frames. So our spirits and our timelines have to come from there. For example, the ECCE was not a part of the formal education. Most children would study in small play schools around their houses, and there were children in the Anganwadis. So the qualifications of the teachers who are going to be teaching these children have also been revamped. So again, the schools will have to plan to bring in, change, different innovative pedagogies, different assessment plans, and also involve the parents as stakeholders, because it's not just the school alone that works on the children. It's the partnership between the parents and the schools, which is actually important. So the parents coming on board, the parents actually giving importance to art integration, giving importance to sports integration, the physical fitness of the children, the parents giving importance to the competencies that need to be developed in the children, like critical thinking, collaboration, communication, citizenship, character. So all these are very important. So instead of just saying that do your math and here is the formula, do a few sums, or write a few essays, is not going to work for these children in future. So having all the stakeholders aligned, having the home and school aligned, having the teachers aligned, because again, as I mentioned earlier, the capacity building of the teachers is very important.
Absolutely.
A lot of unlearning and relearning is required for the teachers also. The skill education, the vocational education. Again, the vision is that the 50% of the children should be exposed to the vocational education, to the skill education. So bringing the skill education as low as grade 6, bringing in artificial intelligence, giving the importance of data sciences to the children. So all this, the coding, the logical thinking. So all this has to be brought into the planning.
So all of this has been envisioned in the National Education Policy. But what's required is that, as you've rightly suggested, that all stakeholders need to come together and work towards effective implementation of the NEP. So with that, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of discussion today. Time is running out. Thank you once again to both my guests for joining me on the program and sharing your perspective with us and our viewers. Pleasure having you on the show. So that's it from us on this edition of discussion today. Just in case you missed the television broadcast, you can also watch it on YouTube and Twitter, and you can get back to us with your feedback and suggestions as well. Thank you for your time.